Hello there. Welcome to Just the Dis. My name's Brian. We talk about Blu-rays here. And I got another collection update. Whoops. New discs. Here's what we were talking about this week. Okay, so let's get into these. First couple we have are Code Red titles. These are reissues. This is Rituals from 1979, 76. Sorry, 77, 1977. And as I said, this has come out before from Code Red, but was out of print. And now is available through, I guess Kino is sort of co-distributing, so you can get this through Amazon pretty easily. This is a really great, I don't even want to say poor man's Deliverance. It's a film in the vein of Deliverance. It's basically about a bunch of doctors who go on a fishing trip. Adventure seeker Mitzi Lawrence Dane invites fellow doctor, a guy played by Hal Holbrook, and three other physician friends to go on their annual camping trip in the middle of the unexplored Canadian mountains. The five of them thought they were alone in the middle of nowhere on their ritual camping trip, but this time someone was watching them. I'm not going to read any more because I really think people need to see this one, but it almost enters into more horror territory than Deliverance does in some ways. And, you know, you want to maybe feel like there's almost some supernatural stuff happening. But it is certainly lower budget than Deliverance. It's a Canadian production. But it's a really solid, horror thriller kind of thing. And I'm a big fan of it. We're big proponents of Rituals on Pure Cinema. I know my friend Elric Kane is a huge fan as well. This has an audio commentary with star and producer Lawrence Dane, moderated by Lee Christian. On-camera interviews with stars Lawrence Dane and Robin Gamble. Original trailers, and this is a 2018 HT scan of the best film elements available. It's still not going to shimmer necessarily, but this is a movie that is just not going to get probably better treatment than this, I don't think. I mean, I could be wrong. But I'm glad this is available again for people to pick it up. It's definitely worth getting. Rituals. Then we have Just Before Dawn. Again, another Code Red title. These are both all region, by the way. Rituals is all region. And so is Just Before Dawn. And I've talked about Just Before Dawn before in my, I think I did a slasher video that I like. And I also have this version, the original release with this slip cover. This is a new cover, though, which is interesting. I don't know if I like it more than the other stuff or not, but it's interesting, right? So that's what that looks like. Okay, so again, the cast: George Kennedy, Greg Henry, Chris Lemmon. Basically, another sort of people go camping and get in trouble kind of thing. It's friends that set out for a weekend camping excursion, and I think they are looking for a piece of land that I think Greg Henry's characters inherited, and they get a little warning from local sheriff or ranger or something played by George Kennedy, and they say he's basically like, don't go in there, don't go in the woods, folks, and but they do anyway, and it's a really, really good slasher. I'm not going to go into the who's and what have yous of the slashing, but I do know that the woods that they filmed in were very dark, and there are some good stories in here. They have some interviews with Greg Henry, Chris Lemmon, Jamie Rose, and the producer, and at least one of them, maybe Greg Henry or the producer, talks about how the tree, like the tops of the trees basically were so dense that at night you couldn't even see the stars. It was like pitch black. So you get a little sense of that in the nighttime scenes. It's like really dark. Obviously they're lighting the scenes, but there's a certain kind of darkness there, and I really enjoy that. But this is just one of the great 80s slashers in my mind, and I'm glad this is available now. It is, again, region free. It also has a vintage featurette with interviews with Chris Lemmon, David Sheldon, Jamie Rose, John Hunsaker, and writer Mark Arowitz. And it says it has the original uncut version from the original Internegative, plus the extended international cut. So you have 2 cuts of the film here, and I love this movie. So definitely pick up Just Before Dawn. Got a couple imports in here. I'll start with Megaforce. This is a Japanese import Blu-ray. It is, I want to say, all region, but it could just be region A. I know this plays in region A just fine, but it might be all region, actually. For those that don't know Megaforce, the story sort of involves 2 fictional countries. There's one that's like the Peaceful Republic of Sardun or something, and their aggressive neighbor, Gamibia. And so Sardun needs help to defend themselves against the Gamibian incursion, and they send somebody to ask for help from Megaforce. And Megaforce is a secret army composed of international soldiers from throughout the Western world, equipped with advanced weapons and vehicles. And the Megaforce leader, Commander Ace Hunter, that is Barry Bostwick there, he will lead the mission to destroy the Gambian forces, which are led by his rival, former military academy friend Duke Guerrera, and that is Henry Silva, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, it is a super fun, super cheesy 80s movie directed by stuntman turned filmmaker Hal Needham, and it has an incredibly catchy score that's this electronic thing that I absolutely love. And I don't know if this is going to get a better Blu-ray than this import. It was kind of a little pricey to import it, but it is 1.85:1, and it looks good. You know, I mean, again, not perfect, but as good as this movie's ever looked, and widescreen. So if you're used to watching VHS rips, which I think a lot of people are, or even an HD TV rip, if there is one, I don't know if that exists, but this looks pretty solid. I don't remember if it has any extras. I don't think it does, but if you're a fan of 80s cheese, this should be in your collection. Megaforce. Words Not Deeds. Or Deeds Not Words. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I screwed that up. Next, we have a little classic film action from Paramount Presents. This is Danny Kaye in The Court Jester. Of course, this is one of those that has the, clear Amaray case, and then the fold-out slipcase. I'm a big fan of that. Boy, this is a good movie. You know, I've talked about my love of classic comedy and classic comedy icons, and it's just one of those things where I have sort of underappreciated Danny Kaye. You know, he really was just phenomenal in terms of the amount of things he can do. He can do comedy, he can sing, he can dance. He's kind of like, like if you're thinking of, let's say, Singing in the Rain, and you have Gene Kelly, and then you have some of the other characters, the comedic stuff that they pull off in Singing in the Rain. It's like he's like Bing Crosby and Bob Hope. You know, he's like a combination of those. And this is just an incredible showcase for a guy that can do all that he does. It even opens with a really wonderful song where he's kind of telling you like what you can expect from this movie. And it's sort of a send up of, Adventures of Robin Hood type movies. And this one is from, I forget what year now. 1955. So it's many years after Robin Hood, but the back says, celebrating its 65th anniversary, Paramount's beloved Madcap musical debuts on Blu-ray beautifully remastered from a 6K film transfer of the original VistaVision negative. In this swashbuckling comic farce, star Danny Kaye is kind-hearted entertainer Hawkins, who disguises himself as the legendary king of jesters, Giacomo, I can't remember how he says his name. Hawkins infiltrates the court of an evil villain, Basil Rathbone, but when a sorceress hypnotizes him, royal chaos ensues, alternating identities at the snap of a finger between swordplay and wordplay. Kaye's comic genius shines through. The stellar supporting cast includes Glynis Johns, Angela Lansbury, Mildred Natwick, Cecil Parker, and John Carradine. Yes, there is a great gimmick where he gets hypnotized, and one of his personalities is super brave, and the other is like not so much. And there's a lot of snapping, a lot of going back and forth. There's a lot of great, again, wordplay, people talking fast to each other. Just a lot of, there's good physical humor, and he is just so affable and so charming in this film. I liked it even, I had liked it before. And this Blu-ray does look incredible, by the way. I'm not surprised it's a 6K film transfer from the original negative, because it is gorgeous. I believe I want to say it's Technicolor, but it is just a beautiful, beautiful film. And I pulled out some frames when I was, just watching it, and I was like, wow, this looks great. And Angela Lansbury is the princess, sort of a slightly evil princess, and she is absolutely stunning. She wears these like shoulder strapless dresses, and she has the most gorgeous shoulders. I just love her shoulders in this, and she is absolutely wonderful. And Glynis Johns, who's the mom from Mary Poppins, is in this, and she is incredibly sexy and really go-getter. And there's, like I said, there's a little bit of Robin Hood in there. There's just a little bit of, you can see that sort of Bob Hope-y kind of goofball, I'm brave, I'm not so brave kind of thing. And he's, like I said, a very warm and charismatic actor, just firing on all cylinders with a great script. And I just really loved this rewatch. So I can't recommend this enough if you're a fan, again, of classic comedies. The Court Jester, I think it might be region free, but don't quote me on that. I just don't see anything on the back here that indicates the region locking. But it also has a new filmmaker focus, which is one of the things they do for these. This one is an interview with Leonard Maltin, which are always great. I want to say it's about 7 or 8 minutes, and he gives like a history of Danny Kaye. He talks about the production, and it's just a lot packed into a short amount of time, and he always knows what he's talking about. He always enlightens me, and I like to watch those like right after I watch the movie and get a little education. So a really great release from Paramount, The Court Jester. Definitely get this. Okay. Just a few more here. We have Crossroads from Mill Creek Entertainment. This, of course, is the VHS slipcase that they like to do, the retro slipcase. Always fun. I'm glad that that's part of their line. And I love the little stickers on them, too. My family and I have been going through a big Cobra Kai phase. We only got into the first 2 seasons late in 2020 and just burned right through season 3. And after that, I proposed to my wife and my son that we watch some Ralph Macchio films that they hadn't seen. This, of course, being one of my favorites, and it is a Walter Hill film, which I always love. And it is a really great story of a young man who is a classical guitarist. He's going to Juilliard, and he thinks he's come across this famous blues singer named Blind Dog Fulton, but he's living in an old folks' home under another name. And Macchio tries to approach him, but he can't get close to him. Then he gets a job as a janitor at the old folks' home to try and talk to him, and the guy is still giving him the brush. And eventually they sort of hit the road together, and they make a deal. Basically, he thinks, Macchio that is, thinks that Blind Dog has this song, this famous blues song that was never released. Basically, Robert Johnson recorded 29 tracks, and there's supposedly a 30th song that the Blind Dog says that he has, and that Macchio thinks his character can take that song and record it and release it, and they can get famous and make some money. And so that, like I said, they hit the road. But there is this great, well, first of all, I should say Joe Seneca stars as Willie Brown, aka Blind Dog Fulton, and he is great. That's him next to Jamie Gertz, who is also in this movie. And there's, of course, Mr. Macchio. And he's just really wonderful as this ornery blues man who is untrusting and unsure about these kids and what their intentions are, and definitely trying to teach them some lessons about real life. But it does look like Macchio's playing a lot of his own guitar. I believe he did learn some for this. And I think the one thing that I did find kind of amusing is how much he like bobs his head and moves his head when he plays. It's kind of embarrassing, but it's still fun to watch. And I like Macchio a lot from this period. And it even gets into sort of a fantasy element towards the end. I won't spoil that, but Steve Vai is involved, and there's a really great standoff. I don't know. I don't want to spoil that, but it's a really wonderful climax that I know my son really appreciated, and really holds up and is fun. And so this is a good one from the retro VHS line of Mill Creek Blu-rays that have been coming out. And then we have another import. I've just been on a tear of Christopher Walken films. I talked about that King of New York 4K, which I still think is just incredible. Definitely get that if you haven't. And then I just talked about At Close Range and the new Blu-ray from Imprint Films. And so I had picked up this McBain Blu-ray. It's a German import from NSM Records. It is all region, so it will play on any player. And it looks good. This is a James Glickenhaus film, and I forget which extras it has. I think there's an interview with Glickenhaus on here. And he does a little intro too. And I'm a big fan of Glickenhaus. My friend Patrick Bromley and I have talked about him on the podcast version of Just the Dis. We haven't talked about McBain, but I'll get to some more stuff we did talk about. This one is kind of a, I don't know, like Rambo's, but Braddock Missing in Action or something kind of thing, where you have some Vietnam vets basically going in to help a Colombian revolution, like an uprising, because basically Christopher Walken's character is in a prison camp at the beginning of the film, and this group of soldiers, including Steve James and Michael Ironside, and I think, T.G. Waits, who is Windows from The Thing, is in that group. Jay Patterson, I recognize. Victor Argo, I think, is the head of the Colombian government. You recognize him. Anyway, they save Walken's character, and one of them gives him half $100 bill and says, if you ever need any real help and you find someone bringing you the other half of this 100, just help them out. And so Maria Conchita Alonso is the sort of girlfriend, or I don't think wife, but girlfriend to one of the guys who is trying to lead this uprising in Colombia, and he is killed. And so Walken's character McBain and Steve James and the other guys decide to go to Colombia, and I think Michael Ironside's character works for like the CIA or CIA adjacent agencies and helps them set up some ordnance and get back into Colombia. And it features the James Glickenhaus, not trademark, but often there's people that are flying through the air from explosions in James Glickenhaus films. And I happen to have a few of them here. Allow me just a brief Glickenhaus tangent, if you will. So we have The Exterminator, of course. That was one of his big hits that kind of put him on the map. This one is from Synapse Films. Another Vietnam vet story with Christopher George and Samantha Eggar. I remember enjoying this one. This has the original director's cut with more gore and violence, newly restored audio stereo soundtrack, and commentary with Glickenhaus. So this is a little bit of an older disc, but I have this one handy. And then I have a couple that Patrick and I talked about on the podcast. I have Soldier from Kino with Ken Wall, as you can see, Glickenhaus. And this one is a powerful action-packed thriller of global intrigue and espionage. KGB agents posing as terrorists steal enough plutonium to destroy half the world's oil supply and threaten to do so unless the Israelis withdraw from the West Bank of Jordan. With the end of the world on the brink of nuclear holocaust, the soldier, Ken Wall, who's not part of the military, carries out his own unauthorized, illegal, and highly dangerous plan to preserve the delicate balance of power. It's a fun action movie, and I definitely enjoyed it, and I talked about it on the podcast with Patrick. And this one also has a Glickenhaus commentary and a commentary from film historian Jim Hemphill, who I'm a friend with and fan of. So that is Soldier. And then lastly, we have Shakedown with Peter Weller and Sam Elliott from 1988. This one is kind of a buddy cop movie, but Peter Weller plays like a burnt-out public defender who decides to go after some drug dealers, if I recall. Targeted by a syndicate of corrupt cops and drug lords, the duo blast their way through the underbelly of New York in their unrelenting search for the shocking truth behind the crime. Basically, there's something that happens at the beginning of the film that's mysterious, and Weller calls upon his buddy Sam Elliott, who he finds in a 42nd Street movie theater bathroom, if I recall, or he's on the floor in a movie. I don't know. It's pretty rough, but they are a great duo, and this is a really fun movie. This also has a commentary by Glickenhaus. He's definitely not shy about that, which is great, and an interview with him. Actually, a couple interviews with him. But this is a really great Shout Select release. All right, and then last but not least, I started something, I don't know if I'm going to continue it or not, but with the family, I did a 1995 movie night, which probably would have been more appropriate in 2020. When I posted I was doing this, somebody told me they had done an entire month of 1995 movie nights last year, because obviously those films are, 25 years old in 2019 or 2020. So now to do it, the 21-year anniversary of Money Train, I don't know, it doesn't make as much sense. But anyway, I felt like watching Money Train. And this is an old Blu-ray. I want to say it's from 2011 or something. And it doesn't have much in the way of features. But I was looking to watch Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson be, I want to say they're like transit cops, yeah. And they get themselves in trouble. This is not, it's funny, but it's more dramatic than I remembered. There's like some downer stuff in it. Like, not to spoil too much, but Woody Harrelson's character has a gambling problem that sort of haunts the whole movie, and he's kind of a sad sack kind of dude who's kind of a loser, and Wesley Snipes is always helping him out. They're like half brothers, and yeah, and Jennifer Lopez is great in an early role, but it's fun. It's a fun, I don't want to say the whole thing is fun, because like I said, it's more of a downer than I remembered, but it was fun to watch a 1995 film, and it had me sort of looking at the releases on Wikipedia from 1995 and just going down and being like, what else could we watch that might be fun? And maybe I'll do a 1996, 25 years after kind of movie. I don't know. Just the idea of doing a movie night where I picked a year and made that the theme was kind of an interesting idea. And I'm sure it's been done, but I haven't done it. So we'll see if it sticks. I don't know. Anyway, Money Train, if you haven't seen it in a while, worth a rewatch, I think. And that will do it for this round of new discs. If you like these, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. And let me know if you've picked up anything new that you'd like to talk about in the comments below. And I will talk to you guys very soon. Bye-bye.